Lead actress of Padmaavat has now visited Siddhivinayak temple in Mumbai, and this is coming ahead of the Padmaavat release, remember, which is scheduled for 25th of this month. And also this is important because the kind of attacks she has been at the receiving end, especially from Karni Sena. Remember, in the last 2 months or so, Karni Sena has been very vociferously attacking Deepika Padukone in particular, announcing announcing that her nose will be chopped off in case she goes ahead with the film. And now Deepika Padukone there at Siddhivinayak temple. We are breaking those visuals live, and Niranjan, our editor, joining us live on this broadcast. Niranjan, it seems that the Padmaavat controversy doesn't really seem to die down. At least Karni Sena is making that sure. But Deepika's going to Siddhivinayak temple. What's the message that she's trying to send across?
Well, of course, I mean, she's trying to take blessings before the release of the movie Padmaavat. We know that the release is scheduled for Friday, and there's been so much of controversy and violence that's been seen in different states. And these are pictures that came in a few minutes ago from the Siddhivinayak temple in Prabhadevi in Mumbai. The actor there to take blessings before the release of the movie, but more importantly, very pertinent given the sequence of events this morning in the Supreme Court. You had the Supreme Court coming down heavily on the state governments and also the fringe. You had the Supreme Court telling the fringe and also the state governments that they need to fall in line. And you have the Supreme Court and judges in the Supreme Court saying there is no way that they will modify the order. There is no way that there will be a ban on the movie. Some of the critical observations. Some of the critical observations before I hand it back to you. The CJI has made it clear that 100 or 200 people cannot take to the streets to ban a movie. It's unthinkable. They better abide by our order. These are some of the stern observations that were made in court. But these are pictures that came in earlier of Deepika Padukone at the temple 2 days before the release of the movie Padmaavat across India.
All right, we'll leave it there, Niranjan. But Swesha is also, in fact, joining us. She's also tracking it very closely. The entire film fraternity, Swesha, you've been tracking right from the day one, is with Sanjay Leela Bhansali on this. But then you have Deepika today visiting temple, and especially coming at a time that this case is panning out legally. The court has almost cleared the decks for its release, although some states are still showing their reluctance, for example, Rajasthan. What more details do you have, especially from the film fraternity reactions? More.
That's right, Sakar. You see, the film fraternity has stood united and strong with the makers of Padmaavat. In fact, actors have gone on to say that, the kind of fate and the kind of resistance that this film has had to face, the kind of violence that has been seen because of this film, no maker, no actor should ever have to face this. It has been a very traumatic experience, not just for the makers, not just for the lead actors of the film, but also for every person in the film fraternity. Because just to go through this ordeal, this trauma of having spent so much in a film, on a physical level, on a mental level, on an emotional level, when you go out with all your heart to make a film, and a film where they assure that this would not hurt any sentiments. It is only to glorify the valor of...
but Deepika, Swesha, we've seen, talking particularly about Deepika being the lead, one of the most important leads in the film from the controversial point of view, because the name of the film was then modified from Padmavati to Padmaavat. She's dotting that, in fact, as saying that very important role. But the way Deepika has been right from the day one, Swesha, you would agree, maintaining a very stoic, a very dignified silence, despite personal attacks. She has been at the receiving end of Karni Sena, for example, Shupnakha ki tarah naak kaat denge, and all those snide remarks. But Deepika stood, dignified. And today, just ahead of the release, she goes to the much-revered temple to seek the blessings of Almighty.
In fact, Sakal, I must tell you that, I have constantly been in touch with Deepika's managers ever since this controversy first came to light. And I have constantly been talking to them about whether Deepika will come and talk about it. And as much as they have been in touch with me and kept telling me about how Deepika is feeling about it, they always said that Deepika will maintain her silence on this. You absolutely could not have put it in a better way. Deepika has maintained her dignity. She has pulled this off with so much dignity all through, whether be it about open threats of the lowest level coming at her, whether it be about, politicians, chief ministers coming out and making these statements, fully knowing that they should not, give in to these cheap tactics of fringe groups which just come out and make open threats. So much has happened through this film. But Deepika has always maintained her dignity. And today the fact that she's come out to the temple and she's seeking the blessings of Ganesha, hoping that everything now goes smoothly.
All right.
Now sees a clean release is in itself enough to show, how they're feeling at this point.
All right. And all this is coming in the wake of those very, very stringent observations made by the top court that law and order is the prime responsibility of states. And that's something they cannot really shy away with. No matter what, Padmaavat will see the light of the day. Many thanks, Swesha Sawant, for those inputs.